Hello and welcome. We're coming to you from the World Economic Forum in Davos, and with me today, three Davos veterans to talk about the India mood here. And does anyone really care about India right now? Mr. Adi Godrej, Mr. Vineet Nair and Mr. Ajit Gulabchand, thanks very much for being here. Mr. Godrej, you've been coming to Davos for over 20 years. India's image has seen several highs and lows. How is India being perceived here in Davos this year?
Well, I think clearly people are concerned that we've had a slow growth over the last couple of years. But I think there's general expectation that post the election things might change. I think most people feel that we might get a government which is more growth oriented. And then Indian growth can pick up. The great thing is most people realize that India has the potential, unfortunately, which we haven't leveraged.
You made a very important point saying we might get a government that will be more growth oriented. Many believe that at least the industry is betting for change at the center. Is that a correct assessment? Is the perception correct?
Well, I don't think you can say that everybody in industry has the same view on politics or what is going to happen in the election. But generally people are rooting for a government that is more growth oriented, pro-business.
A more pro-business, growth-oriented government. Mr. Gulabchand, would it be safe to say that the UPA government has disappointed corporate India?
Considerably. It has disappointed because it came on the promise of keeping the growth story going, making not just pro-business, it's more pro-market policies. And it did not do that. As a result, it went back to its old socialist ways, which we had till 1991. And therefore, we dropped our growth rate. We keep blaming the outside world, but it wasn't really the outside world, it's our own doing. And to that extent, yes, it was a bit of disappointment. Because when they were re-elected because they were for growth and reform.
All right, so again, very strong views there coming from corporate India. But Mr. Nair, the fact remains that India cannot isolate itself from what's happening around the world. We particularly saw a lot of developments last year when the rupee actually fell to 68 to the dollar. IT companies obviously benefited from a move like this. But do you think we should have done much more to protect India's currency, to protect India's image, that the government in many ways and policymakers in many ways took India's growth for granted?
Our currency is a result of the fundamental economic conditions. And if the fundamental economic conditions go adverse, the currency can and should come down in value. It had variegated effect on the Indian economy. People who are externally focused with resources from India, like the Indian IT industry, became more competitive. But remember, our competition in IT industry is really with Indian companies.
Right.
So, was there a net benefit to the Indian IT industry? Yes, but not as much as it is being assumed.
Mr. Gulabchand mentioned socialist ways of the UPA government, and what we are seeing now is the emergence of the Aam Aadmi Party in Delhi that is also, according to many, more left of centre than they would have liked. Your thoughts on what some of the recent political developments mean for India as such?
Well, the Aam Aadmi Party has suddenly risen. It's done very well in the Delhi election. And post the Delhi election, when Arvind Kejriwal became the Chief Minister of Delhi, it did gather some momentum across other parts of the country. But I think they've lost some of it in the recent actions they took in Delhi. I think they are very leftist. Their thinking is based on old socialist thinking. Of course, there are varying thinking in the party itself. And I think if they have any say in a government, whether it's a state government or a national government, I think it would lead to a very low growth situation. And I think the rest of the country should explain to them CII is going to meet the Aam Aadmi Party to ensure that their economic program is a little more sensible than it looks now. But I don't think they will have much of an impression in this election. I think they may get 20, 30 MP seats, but despite that, I think we could have a government that is growth oriented.
All right, Mr. Gulabchand, the events that unfolded in Delhi over the last few days, the dharna that the Chief Minister was sitting on, are these issues that are talked about here on a global platform like Davos? What's the kind of message it sends out? The Finance Minister yesterday in a session that NDTV hosted went on to say that he should be doing his dharma and not dharna. Is India's politics something that's being talked about and it's coming up in conversations here?
The only politics that they're discussing is that when is the election happening so that we can move on.
Okay.
That's the only politics everybody is discussing. As far as the Aam Aadmi Party, should it come anywhere near power, it will be a disaster, like it has been in Delhi. It is a completely leftist party with definitely anti-business, anti-market party, and also doesn't seem to adhere to the rule of law. It has always been an agitation. It continues to be an agitation even in office. So I wouldn't...
Mr. Gulabchand, there are several professionals, several within the corporate world who are actually supporting the Aam Aadmi Party. It's a party that at least came on a plank of rooting corruption out. So at least in that sense, do you think it's been a change in politics?
There's nobody in India or anywhere in the world that wants corruption to exist. Right. They all want corruption to go. How does it go? What should be done? What is the kind of policy framework, implementation framework, administrative framework must exist so that corruption is reduced is the issue. Not just an anti-corruption platform, one. Number two, it's fine for many members of the business community and banking community that have felt that they should join the Aam Aadmi Party. Good luck to them. But they must remember they are giving support to the party that wishes to nationalize them. So if that's how they're thinking, most of us believe, and most people have said this to me, that these are just opportunists, not real, genuine supporters of the Aam Aadmi Party.
I don't think there is any major business-based support for the Aam Aadmi Party.
Right.
A few corporate executives, basically some who have left their companies recently, have been attracted to the anti-corruption stance of the party and have decided to join. But many of them have been very critical of their policies again of late. So I don't think you should think that that means there's any major business or industry support of the Aam Aadmi Party.
Right, and particularly going forward, one wants to know what is the economic philosophy, because that worries many people. They've already, for instance, reversed FDI and multi-brand retail in Delhi. Mr. Nair, they've also gone ahead and said that, power cut in part of power tariffs, free water supply. Now, these are really populist moves, but they don't make sound economics.
You're quite right, and as RD and Mr. Gulabchand have said, but I don't think there is a consensus even within that party as to what they are doing. In fact, it almost appears that they are surprised by the fact that they are in power. And in many ways they wish they continue to be in opposition. But maybe we should not undersell Aam Aadmi Party, because there are quite a few things. They are trying to bring certain morality in political life. They are trying to bring certain responsibility that holding public office doesn't mean that you have the key to the treasury and that you can misuse resources like some of the other people at that level have been doing. They're talking about corruption. They're talking about principles. So in that case, to the extent that has an impact on Indian politics, I think it's a positive. And the fact that they were able to garner so much of support in the initial phases is indicative of the huge sense of frustration which most part of India feel at this point of time. And basically you were talking about Brand India. Now Brand India really encapsulates large number of fundamentals.
Sure.
Law and order, judicial system, ease of doing business,
entrepreneurial spirit.
Right.
Now, until and unless we change, we create an environment which will give free play to it, it's not going to change. The Brand India will get sullied. On the other hand, the positive is if we can change it. Our communication systems have become so fast. Knowledge percolates with such swiftness that we will be able to repair the damage very soon. And who knows, by next Davos, you will see once again the great enthusiasm you saw earlier about India.
next Davos, would that be too early, Mr. Godrej? And what is needed to bring back that enthusiasm about India here in Davos, which is perhaps a reflection of the way the world is viewing India?
No, it might be very exciting at the next Davos if we have a government which is, as I mentioned, pro-growth, which is, to my mind, likely. And I think there are so many opportunities.
So
in
you're
India.
referring to a government led by Narendra Modi, is that correct?
Well, that is possibly the best alternative for a pro-growth. But I also feel that if the present government had done what it has done in the last 9 months, 2 years ago, we might have had a reasonably strong economy today. So there are a lot of options, a lot of opportunities, and if we can bring in things like the GST at an early date, that adds 2 percentage points to our growth rate. So the opportunities are many, we just have to leverage them.
So in many ways what Mr. Godrej is referring to is perhaps a missed opportunity, because the government could have acted earlier, the government could have done better damage control much earlier. Right now what's happening is too little too late. At the same time, when we're talking about a new government getting into power, whenever the talk comes about Mr. Narendra Modi, the Congress party time and again says it will not be a secular government. Does the business community set aside those concerns and say, no, we need to vote for growth now?
Well, first important issue, as far as when we look at growth, or as when we talked about brand India, brand is a promise. India didn't keep the promise. It didn't walk the brand. The day you start walking the brand, given the fundamentals of India in its basics, we should be able to capture the brand back again. Having said that, yes, Narendra Modi does represent a very different philosophy from Nehru. Nehru was for government in business. Nehru was for the government to be the doer. Modi is for government just as a facilitator. Nehru was for all investment to be done by government, whereas Modi is for investment to be done and jobs to be created, and no more doles. So we are discussing a more growth-oriented, pro-market economy under a man who personally, genuinely, without reading Milton Friedman or anybody like that, talks about a market economy. So fundamentally, I think, yes, you will get an improved growth. And when you say too little, too late for that government. India is still around for 10,000 years and will be afterwards. So a little hiccup is not too late for the rest of us.
All right, and you believe that a government perhaps led by Rahul Gandhi may not be able to deliver the kind of promises that you're talking about, what India needs at this stage when we've seen that sharp slowdown?
It's not a question of what government can deliver. I think we have to see what is a political reality today, what people are going to vote. As Vineet mentioned, people are a little fed up of the way political parties have run themselves over the last few years. So I expect there will be a change.
Mr. Nair, when you talk to your clients and they talk about brand India, do you think we in many ways feel that we within corporate India or within the media are too self-critical of the way things are moving in India? Do you think that at least in terms of the way the world is viewing India, it's not all that bad as what is being made out to be within India?
Shweta, let's face it, India is a very difficult place to do business, especially for outsiders. And in all international ranking,